Hi, this is Lorraine, and I'm doing another video. If you'll give me a second to clear, center, and balance my energy, we'll get started. Okay, so I'm starting this video again. I was quite a way through it, and I realized that there was an error message on the screen that said that there was something wrong and it was corrupted. So I have to start over again, which is okay. But I will be looking over to the screen more often to make sure there's no error message again, which I don't like to do, but I'm gonna I have to get this done tonight. So March 5th, unity exists at 0 point. This came in almost right after the last video, and what came in really strong is I was having this vision of the black hole and the white hole. And so at some point in my past, I went down this rabbit hole of researching black holes, and then because I saw a white hole, and I'm like, what's a white hole? I've heard of black holes before, but what's a white hole? And so I just went down this rabbit hole, and because I'm not into science, it got really convoluted. But what I remember and what I took away from it was that black holes suck in all things, right? That gravitational pull draws everything in, or draws things, stuff, energy, objects in. And they speculate that the white hole, everything that the black hole draws in, the white hole projects out. And so we have this process of destruction. As the black hole sucks things in, the white hole projects it out. But between these two places is this, what we call 0 point, and they've also called it Einstein-Rosen bridge, right? And I was actually drawn to draw this picture, which is the Fibonacci spiral, right? As above, so below. And I have this graphic I'll also put up in picture, but so we have this destruction coming in through this black hole, sitting at 0 point, which is pure consciousness, source energy. And then as this source creates and manifests, it is projected out into that white hole. Okay, so we have destruction, and through destruction, these constructs are reconfigured through this divine awareness, this divine consciousness, and then we have a new manifestation, a new creation that is brought into or onto a plane of existence. It doesn't have to be this plane, right? It can be any plane, because this source energy creates from pure consciousness. And then we end up with this a reality, right? Okay. Sleeping, mending the now moments. The idea of different universes is skewed. All things reside within the conscious awareness of unity. And so sleeping and mending the now moments, that's going to be brought in and explained a little bit further down. But I almost feel like as soon as I read that in the last video I'd given so much information up front, it was almost too much, and maybe it would have been a bit overwhelming. That's the feeling I'm getting right now. It's like you gave a lot of good information, but it's too much information up front, which is funny, because yes, I can be a bit verbose. Okay, so sleeping and mending the now moments. The idea of different universes is skewed. All things reside within the conscious awareness of unity. Nothing exists outside of that. The closest idea or construct of multiple universes resides within the idea of fractal. Each fractal represents a perspective, a point of view, an aspect of the divine. It is unique, a product of its individual experiences. The fractal itself. So each human is a fractal. Each human is a perspective of the divine. Each human represents an aspect of the divine consciousness, okay? That perspective exacts a force against other perspectives, i.e. constructive, deconstructive interference, quantum entanglement. So think of it this way. Each perspective is a human being. Each person is a perspective or a point of view or a aspect of the divine. And each perspective, each person exacts a force against the other, okay? My reality affects my children's reality, right? Because we interact so much, okay? And so I'm just going to leave it right there. When I was talking about weaving and mending while we are sleeping in the last video, I talked about how we released our physical bodies in order to move through now moments to create change. This is a great example or tool to explain how each fractal can represent this construct of multiple universes. If I am sleeping, astral traveling, mending now moments, what happens to, like, let's say if I was still married, my husband, or my kids. When I sleep, the construct of this world fades. I release it as I move into varying existences because I have shifted my point of view, my reality. But my ex-husband or my children's reality still exists if they are in an awakened state or if they wake up. They will see me because that reality is a construct of their consciousness. It's important to note our realities, constructs, universes are not separate. They do not stand alone. They are interdependent. One cannot exist without the other, okay? So, let's say I'm still married, me and my husband go to sleep, we're sleeping in the same bed, my kids are in their bedrooms, right? And as we sleep, we are both astral traveling through every now moment, right, of our existences. But if he wakes up, he's going to see me because from his construct, from his reality that he has created, when he wakes up, his wife is laying in bed next to him. His kids are in their beds asleep, right? So even if I'm astral traveling and I'm existing in every now moment and I've released my physical form, from his universe, his reality, as he awakens, he will see me laying in bed next to him because I am a construct of his universe, his reality. If he gets up and goes to check on our kids, he's going to see them in their beds because they are constructs of his universe, his reality. So even if they're sleeping and they are astral traveling and they've released their physical form and they no longer exist in their universe as Desiree and Daniel, and I no longer exist in in my universe as Lorraine because I'm astral traveling across to my many different realities, my many existences across the universe, or as the universe, right? If I'm existing in any of my lifetimes, I'm not existing as Lorraine from my perspective, right? I've left the universe of Lorraine and moved to the universe of Lorraine as my Arcturan lifetime, or a lifetime in Orion, or a lifetime in Cepheus, right? I'm no longer here on this plane of existence as Lorraine, but from my ex-husband's point of view, when he awakens from a sleep state, he will see me in bed next to him because I am a construct of his reality, his universe. And that will be true of my children too. If they wake up in the middle of the night, they're going to wake up and they're going to see their mom and they're crying. They had a nightmare or whatever. They're going to wake up and go see mom, who's going to be laying in bed because I am a construct of their reality. Okay? They're going to see the woman that they perceive as mom from their perspective. Okay? So this idea of universes really isn't what we've been. When they talk about multiple universes, what we're being told is not how it is. Let's just make it very simple. It's not that reality. Okay, so I'm going to move on. Death is a dissolution of a construct, reality, universe. When this happens, death, there is a ripple across the divine consciousness that creates an energetic shift affecting all things. That is the best way to attempt to explain this idea or construct of multiple universes. So if Lorene's physical form passed away, I would affect all of my realities across time, because as my vibration rises in this reality, I affect all of my realities across the universe, and I affect all energy across the universe, because I am all things. Okay, every particle of energy affects every other particle of energy. Okay, so as Lorene's reality ceases to exist on this world, when I pass back to the light, I'll affect all energy across the universe, because this vibration no longer will exist here in this now moment. Okay, and so that's true of all things. Okay, and so as this reality ceases to exist, it shifts the divine consciousness. Okay, and I become something else. And that, as I say it, it's very difficult. It was so clear to me, and I have a clear understanding of what that means. But if that's difficult to receive and kind of work out, it's a seed that's being planted. Allow it to grow. Meditate on that. Think about what that means for you, because it means something different for all of us, because we are a creation based on our experiences and our perspectives of those experiences in this lifetime and all lifetimes across the board. So all lifetimes across the board affect Lorene, this reality, okay, through the subconscious, but it's the experiences from this life that are closest to the surface and have the most profound effect on this consciousness in this now moment. Okay, and the best parallel that I could give you to try to explain that is my mom and dad had the greatest influence over me and in my life. Okay, but let's say and my aunts and uncles, my grandparents would be secondary to that, right? And then aunts and uncles would be the next level. Okay, and distant cousins, they have lesser effect. As you get further away from my parents' relationships, they have lesser effect. So right now, all things that are immediate in my reality right now have the greatest effect. But all those secondary and tertiary energies have an effect, just not as profound in this now moment. Okay, does that make sense? I know that's difficult, but okay, I'm going to move forward. Everything we know of this existence is a construct and can be reduced or created by the divine consciousness. We are part of and wholly divine consciousness. As we awaken and expand our consciousness, awareness, we are provided greater gifts that enable us to exact a greater force of change and or influence on the reality we exist within. The releasing of generational karma. I keep hearing tarot readers talk about the release of generational karma. So every now and then I watch some of the tarot readers, and I go through this. I went through this phase where a lot of them, different readers, were saying, "You're releasing generational karma. You're releasing generational karma," and I was like, "Wow, that's interesting." That these different people who don't talk to each other are sending the same message. Okay. You have or are releasing generational karma. That's what I would hear. This is important because of the statement made at the end of last week's video. Removal from this planet is an act of mercy. There are energies on this planet that believe that they will be okay because the wrongs committed by their people happened many generations in the past. That is untrue. We carry the karma of our forefathers. Only your connection with the divine will reveal where any of us are energetically. Whether you or anyone in your community carries and is responsible for generational karma is known to you, the divine, and any other being deemed appropriate by the creator of all things. The ego is the greatest block to the truth. Be clear and know the execution of divine will is at hand. There is nothing that can usurp the will of the divine. And so, that message came in, I felt that's true of us, but it's also true of many beings in the inner earth. They feel that they're so far away from these experiences, and they survived, and they are wherever they are energetically. But the message came in very strong that there is generational karma. So it's not just about my karma, it's about my soul group, the people that I've incarnated with over many, many lifetimes on this world. And we carry generational karma. And so the tarot readers, when I would listen to them, they're like, you've done so much work over all your lifetimes and you are releasing generational karma. And I was very confused about that, but I understand it. I understood what it meant when that message came through on the 5th. I'm like, that's what they mean. They mean that people feel so far removed from experiences from, let's say, Jesus Christ, the time of Jesus Christ, from 500, 1,000, 1,500, let's say the Crusades. There's a lot of very dark things that have happened in the history of humanity within this 5,000-year cycle and many cycles before that. Because I can recall all the lifetimes I've spent on this world and many other worlds. I can tap into that information. And so I know my role. And I know that I work diligently to always return to center, okay? And I know that I work with many other people, souls, in each lifetime to help them move back to center. And then I work with many other souls. So I work with many other souls to help them if they're struggling with finding their center, help give them opportunities to make appropriate choices to move back to center. And then there's many other light workers that I work with, and we help each other through our traumas move back to center. Okay, so I know intuitively how that generational karma we carry it over. Okay, and right now at the end of this cycle is a moment of transcendence, and so we have either released that generational karma, which allows us to move to the next cycle, the next level of consciousness. Or we must return to this cycle that we're in and work through that generational karma that we were unable to release. Okay? And so I think that's the best way to explain it. That generational karma, our individual karma, there's many, many components to transcendence. It's not just about what we've been through in this lifetime or even in the last 3 years, okay, or since 2012. Whatever markers you want to seek to find to help you figure out when the change happened or when it's going to happen. It's a continuous cycle of transition, change, and growth. Okay, it's just right now we are at a place of transcendence. So either you've been able to balance your karma and release generational karma to allow you to go to the next cycle, the next level of consciousness, or you'll repeat this level of consciousness or this cycle that we're in right now. Okay. And that's true of all beings on this world. Okay, inner and on the surface. Okay, nobody escapes the karmic cycle. Be clear. Oops, I already read that. So June 6th. Okay. So, okay, this was a really intense vision. Okay, so first, I was laying on my couch. I was watching TV or something, and I heard my daughter's voice very clearly say, "Mom, Mom," and just once though, and it was in a tone that she uses when she feels that I'm not listening to her. So often, like, I'll be doing something and she'll be talking to me, and she'll be like, "Mom, like, are you listening to me?" And I know the tone. She doesn't have to say anything else. I know she wants to know if I'm listening to her, right? So I hear Desiree's voice say, "Mom." I look, she's not in the hall. I know she's in her bedroom with the door closed. So I know she wasn't in the hall yelling at me. And then I had a vision. I had horns or angels' trumpets, right? And it was very much like the judgment card in the tarot. And I'll do a picture just to show that. But it was 3 horns, and they were crossed like this, and then one in the middle. And they each began to change shape, and they started changing and swirling. And so even I saw those 3 horns, they were just 3 horns on a black backdrop, or maybe space, or the void, I don't know how you want to look at it. But and then they started to like dissipate, and they were gold. And so they just started to dissipate or melt a little, and become like streams of smoke. That's the best way to describe it. And then I saw a cross, and it was surrounded with bands. It was like a very complex magnetic field. And so I drew a picture of a friend of mine, and I was talking about how I saw him standing, and he had these bands around him, and each band represented a lifetime. Okay. And so I saw the exact same thing, but I saw a cross, a crucifix, and it had those bands around it. And I didn't draw it, so maybe I'll just use that picture of my friend as an example. There are messages trying to make it through, but I'm not listening. I'm distracted or preoccupied. So the message with Desiree's voice was, I'm not listening. That frustration, like, "Mom, are you listening to me?" So that message that came in was source energy, angel guide, however you want to look at it, like, you're not listening. And so as soon as I heard my daughter's voice, I closed my eyes because I received that message. I'm like, someone's trying to tell me something and I'm not listening. I closed my eyes and I saw that vision of the horns, and the horns dissipated. They turned into these golden streams and just kind of stayed as streams, moving. And so they didn't completely disappear, but they were no longer horns. And so the next thing I was drawn to the seventh angel. Okay, the seventh angel. The seventh angel sounds his trumpet, and so I went to Bible quotes and I found the quote that was about the seventh angel. The seventh angel sounded his trumpet, and there were loud voices in heaven, which said, "The kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Messiah, and he will reign forever and ever." The cross represents the divine nature of earth in its balanced state. The bands represent the means of change. The horns turn yellow into streams. Horns represent sound vibration. Light, the color yellow, and sound unify and transition Mother Earth. They create the fields of change and protection. So the horns representing vibration, and the sound vibration, and the color, the gold, representing light vibration, light frequency. And so it represents the horns and the color, and represent this shifting and changing. The streams of energy represent the fields of change and protection. And so I mean literally the fields of energy. The fields around Mother Earth are changing. Mother Earth is heavily fortified. I feel the strength and the power of the divine coming in. It is overbearing and insurmountable. There are no words to describe it. It could seem scary. I'm shown a large tidal wave as a possible comparison, but even that pales in comparison. This is definitive. And and the feeling was the fields of Mother Earth are changing. So we have these magnetic fields, and we see these images, and maybe I'll find an image online and put it in picture, but there's a definitive understanding of what the magnetic fields of Earth are. And the message that comes in is they are changing. The magnetic fields of Mother Earth, the fields are changing, and it's creating a field of protection around Mother Earth. And so there's a very strong feeling that Mother Earth needs to be protected from outside sources, from outside realities, from other worlds, because it's heavily coveted. Having the depth and breadth of emotion is a very powerful thing. We are powerful, 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 powerful creators in a way that no energy in this universe has experienced before. And they see us as a threat. We are not a threat. We are not a threat, but which makes it so important for us to live from the heart, to know that for these energies across the universe, to know that we live from a balanced state, that we live from unconditional love, that we live from that unconditional love source energy place. It's very, very important, because there's a lot of fear, because now it's clear that our energy will not be contained. Okay, this negative unbalanced energy is not going to usurp the will of the divine or humanity or Mother Earth. Okay, and so there is a very profound push and pull, like fear of our gift of creation, but hope in that gift of creation. But like many of us who live through traumas, we know how to exist in a trauma state. We've learned how to survive, and we've been wronged by people we should be able to trust so many times that we question the integrity of those things. We question the integrity of goodness because we have had our hands slapped back so many times, if you will. Okay, and so that's what this universe is seeing. It's like they've seen what we've been through. They see the potential of what we can be. They see the potential of good, and they see the potential of darkness. And so there's so much fear that it's almost better to keep us where we are, because they know what they know how to deal with this at this state, okay? But if we become boundless with the ability of creation, what can we become, right? That's scarier. That's scarier than knowing. And the example I'll give is when I did my undergraduate at Pepperdine University, which is in Malibu, and everybody thinks, oh, what a great place to live. But that's not who my people are. And where I was raised, I had one of the people that worked in the department that I worked in as a student. She lives in Inglewood, so I'd go there every weekend and I'd buy barbecue and I'd go sit on the couch with her and watch TV, because that is more conducive to who I am and where I'm from. And it was a rough neighborhood, and most people wouldn't feel comfortable or safe, but it's what I know. I mean, I know how to survive in that environment, okay? I know how to deal with people. I'm very grounded. I'm very respectful. I honor that I'm in somebody else's house, neighborhood, and I respond appropriately. And so I know how to survive in that area. Even though that's not my neighborhood, I know how to survive in that neighborhood. And I go back to Malibu for school, but it was easier for me to exist there than in a place where I don't know these people, what motivates them, what drives them. It's very difficult for me to understand people who are driven by money, right? Like their end game is, how much money can I have? How much money, more money can I have? They're driven solely by more money, more money, more money, right? More wealth, nicer cars, bigger houses. And that's not where I came from. You know, I came from a very loving family. My mom and dad were fabulous. I was very close with one of my brothers, but we were very close as a family, very close with my extended family. And so it was always about our relationships when I was growing up. It wasn't about who had the bigger house or the better car. It was never about that. What car did you buy? Well, how big is your TV now? Like, everybody wants a bigger TV, right? With a flatter screen. I don't know. And so I always, it was much more comfortable for me to be with what I know, to stick with what I know, than to step outside of that, okay? And so that's what we're experiencing in this universe. The universe feels much safer with us in this contained state, knowing what we're capable of, that we're being contained and we can't do anything more, than to allow us to experience the full depth and breadth of emotion and our creative abilities at every level of transcendence, of growth, okay? Sorry I went a little bit off, but it's important, I think, to make those parallels so you can understand, like, this is such a good thing, right? What I'm experiencing as I grow and change is profound and meaningful. It's deep it's not even in my mind, in my soul, in my being. And every step forward, especially as I release the negativity, I released all the traumas of my life, like the potential and what I'm feeling brings me so much hope for me individually. And as I feel more hope in myself, in my being, that comes out in my energy field, and it affects the people that are around me, and I can see it and I can feel it in the way people are drawn to me. Sometimes it's like uncomfortable, but also it's beautiful. It's uncomfortable because I've always put barriers up. I've always had walls up, and to keep people at a distance. But now people are just drawn to me, and I have had to adjust, but it's part of my growth. And every adjustment I make and allowing people in is more beautiful and more satisfying and more validating in a way that there are no words to explain. It's meant to be. I can feel it. And so I want more. I want to grow more. I want to feel this more. And there's so much fear from outside because they don't know what is going to happen. That Mother Earth and the source is shifting the fields of this planet to protect us and to allow us to grow and change and evolve and transcend. Okay? It's so important. And so I'll read this part again. I feel the strength and the power of the divine coming in. It's overbearing and insurmountable, and there are no words to describe it. So all I could say is it felt the best way, and I even wrote it here. It just felt like tidal waves of energy moving through me, moving on around the planet, and then I could actually see like these fields and these waves of energy just like so strong and so powerful, just like whipping around the planet and creating changes. And they didn't show me the fields, and just like I'm given this new way to protect myself, these new tools of protection that I don't talk about, they're not showing me the fields. So that means, you know, they're not giving any information that will allow any negativity to try to counter what is happening, because this unbalanced energy is really working diligently to still try to stop or slow this movement. But this force of energy is so great, there's nothing that can stop it. And they're just, that attempt to stop it is just, they're just exercises in futility, truly. Because this force of energy is so beautiful and powerful and hopeful. There's so much hope in this. I just wish I could share it. All I could do is encourage people to open up, encourage people to connect to the higher self and the divine, and make their own connection so they can have these experiences and know this, the depth of this. It's so deep. And there are no words. I can feel it in my body. There's no way to explain in words what I feel. And then I had a note, oh my gosh, I never get timing. I started getting information on exact timing, and I'm not going to share that, because even though when I was going through like I'll just go back 3.5 years. Over these last 3.5 years, I was like, please, you know, what's happening? I need a marker. I need something to show me how much time, because it's when I'm hiking, I feel like I'm getting to the top, I get like this burst of energy, and I just start driving to get to that last, I don't know, 100 yards, 200 yards to get to the top. I just can feel it, and I get that burst of energy. So I'm always seeking that. I was seeking that, and then I would get this message, you know, everything in divine right timing. So then I would kind of take myself down a notch, and I just start working through the energy, releasing energy, working to center myself. And what that forced me to do is really become very skilled at, when this psychic attacks come or energetic attacks come, to move me out of center, releasing that energy, protecting myself, and maintaining that center. I've gotten very good at that. I'm not perfect, but very good at that. And so every time I go through this phase of feeling like I can't go on anymore, like I'm just so exhausted, it's just too much, and I get the message of divine timing, I just like pull myself up by my bootstraps, take some breaths, and just keep driving forward. You know, it's all I can do. It's like, I know it's going to happen. I just got to be patient. And so it was an exercise in patience, which I'm not very good at, but it forced me. And so now that I'm getting these messages of timing, it almost was too much. Meaning now I know when things are going to start happening. Now I know I don't know how to put it. It's almost too much to know what the steps are, what's coming, and what the timing is for that. I'm just going to leave it. So I had a dream. Graduate. Okay, so I work at a school, and every month we have a class that graduates. And the dream was that the graduation started early, like at 9 a.m., and people missed it. So in the past, we've had this person who organizes the graduation ceremony, and she would just move the time. Like, it should be at 2. Oh, this month it's going to be at 1. Oh, now we're going to do it at 12. What would happen is parents, they not everybody can come out for the graduation ceremony, so they do a Zoom link and they'd set it up on Zoom. So we'd have families who would be sitting at home waiting to watch. They'd turn on the Zoom link. Oh, graduation was at noon, but they were told it was at 1, and someone decided last minute, like the day before, they were going to change the time. And so families would miss it and they would be really upset. And so I got upset and I started, squeaky wheel gets the grease. So now the graduation is the same time every month, so nobody misses it. But in this dream, the graduation started at 9 a.m. and people missed it. And I woke up and I was really upset. It was so funny. I was really upset. Oh my God, they changed graduation. At the school I worked at, we had someone who would willy-nilly change the time. Parents wouldn't be notified and miss the ceremony. This dream is telling me that unexpected changes are being made. People are unprepared. These people are neither meant to be prepared nor to benefit from the change. Preparation occurs through the consciousness, not the physical plane. So the dream was just saying that there's no way to prepare for what's coming. Preparations are done through the consciousness, and preparations are done through releasing the negativity or the unbalanced energy, working your way back to center, and living from the heart, living from unconditional love, compassion. It's an energetic shift. And so the best way to prepare for an energetic shift is to live from a balanced place. So 310, March 10th. Then I have a note, Trimurti, Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. We are at the end of a cycle. I see the cycle of seasons, spring, summer, fall, winter. We are in Pisces, getting ready to move into Aries. The beginning of a new annual cycle, or astrological cycle calendar. This ending and beginning is symbolic of a larger ending and beginning. This is beyond a 5,000-year cycle of humanity and or Mother Earth. This is beyond a cycle of Earth, our solar system, galaxy, constellation. This is a universal ending and beginning. And so, and when I looked up constellation, what constellation Earth is in, it was about perspective. So normally it's from here looking out, we have constellations. So we really aren't part of any constellation. From our perspective, the constellations are outside of Earth, right? But there was one article I found that said, if you look at the stars, we could be considered, from someone looking outside in, to be part of Cassiopeia or Monoceros. And so I would encourage you to look up the Greek myth or story of Cassiopeia, because I've been drawn to that many times, and it's very profound and meaningful in this transcendence of humanity, which I think most Greek mythological stories are meaningful through the history of humanity. But it's the Monoceros, which was the one that resonated with me in this moment, because it's I guess, the unicorn. It represents the unicorn. Or it's a unicorn constellation. So, you know, when you see the Aries, the Aries constellation, you'll see a ram. There'll be a drawing of a ram that connects the stars. So in this Monaceros constellation, it's a unicorn, okay? And said, so the feeling that came in when I read that was, we are the universal unicorn. And then also, I think it's important to note that Scotland's national animal is the unicorn. So I have to say the Scottish have to be the most awesome people on the planet. Okay, let's just call a spade, right? This is a universal ending and a beginning. Every particle of energy affects every other particle of energy. What differentiates one particle of energy from another particle of energy is vibration. We are the unicorn because those who are transcending are the first and only to master the depth and breadth of emotion from the physical plane. This has taken many lifetimes on Mother Earth, many experiences. This required a very strong Mother Earth and a very supportive Father Son. I've said in the past, because all time is now, as I raise my vibration in these moments, I raise my vibration across all lifetimes, which are occurring simultaneously. To demonstrate mastery of the emotional body in every now moment is to transcend. As we achieve this goal, as we reach this accomplishment, we shift divinity's perspective of itself. As we empower ourselves through the wisdom of our experiences, and as we come to know the truth, our truth of our experiences, we flourish in unity. And then I had a vision. I see myself swimming through a sea that feels like consciousness. I see flower petals floating around me. So I'm not actually in water. It was more like the void. And as I'm flying, I just see flower petals all around me. There is a calmness, a beauty, an appreciation, a peace, gratitude. The immense gratitude is followed by profound reward or abundance. There are no words for me. There are no words for this because this is about experience. This experience here on earth is about the depth and breadth of emotion. It is meant to be felt. Therefore, to truly know this experience, you must feel it. I can hear an intense, I can hear an intensity in pitch and volume in my ears. If it was meant to drown out all sound, it could, but it sits in the background. For me, this represents intense healing and shifting of energy, as well as a profound increase in vibration. So the intensity and the sound, the pitch in my head goes, in my ears goes way up, so much so, and the volume so much so that if it was meant to drown out any sound, it would. But it sits in the background and just represents healing and raising a vibration in me. So you must listen to the messages provided to you, become aware of the synchronicities, translate the clairs from a balanced place, and discern the meaning of the messages being provided you. So meaning translate the clairs, claircognizance, clairsentience, clairvoyance, all the clairs, all the messages that are coming into you through your senses. You need to, we all need to be able to translate those so we can receive the messages and the meanings of, and discern the meanings of those messages. This is an individual journey of interconnectedness. That may sound contradictory, but it is true. Meaning, even though it's an individual journey of interconnectedness, it may seem contradictory, because if it's individual, then how are we connected? Nevertheless, we must see ourselves, understand ourselves, our uniqueness, then seek our interconnectedness, move and journey to wholeness, oneness, unity. What that looks like, how that manifests, is unique to the individual. It is based on our perspective of ourselves in relation to this universe, our universe. Note, so this is a note that it was important for me to note this. The information seems so convoluted when I read it, but that is an indication of how much information is actually coming through the emotional body, clairsentience, and the conscious mind, claircognizance, to aid in understanding. And as I'm writing that, the ringing goes up in my ears and drowns out ambient sounds. So as I was writing that, the information seems so convoluted when I read it, but that is an indication of how much information is actually coming in through the emotional body, which is clairsentience, and also through the conscious mind, which is claircognizance. And so while I was writing that, the vibration, the pitch in my ear went up so high that it drowned out all the noise around me. So that's a profound, not just a confirmation, it's a profound confirmation of that truth. So much of the information, I'm writing the information down, but my understanding isn't just through the words. My understanding comes into my body through the clairs, through a knowing and through a feeling. Okay, and so as you open up to these truths and open up to the divine, you will receive those same messages with that same level of understanding. Okay, and so if this again is convoluted or difficult for you to process and receive, just consider it planting seeds for your spiritual growth. And as you open up and as you release the past, release the traumas, release the constructs, the paradigms of this life, and allow in new, you will receive new information. But you have to release in order to receive. Okay? You have to let go in order for the new to come in. My negative thoughts manifest in Cepheus. Okay, so this is another thing. My negative thoughts manifest in Cepheus. My positive thoughts manifest on earth. The energetic attacks on those transcending create karmic obligations for those projecting those attacks. We are at transcendence, divergence. The attempts to slow or stop the will of the divine carry consequences. These consequences can also be defined as karma. Karma can carry positive or negative energy. The interpretation of positive and negative is individual and based on experiences. Regardless of the interpretation, the karmic consequences will carry the same vibration of the energy of the initial action, word, behavior, intention, be it perceived as positive or negative. Okay, so if the interpretation of that energy is negative, then the karmic response will be negative. As what you put out is what you receive. That's all that's saying, is the energy that you put out is what you will receive. Okay? That being said, I exist both on earth and in Cepheus. It is my path and purpose to always be a light in the darkness. So what was happening is I was receiving a lot of energetic attacks that were trying to move me out of center. So I'd have moments of frustration, maybe a little anger, and then I would move myself back. But I knew those were energetic attacks coming in. And so every energetic attack that this unbalanced energy projects at me or anybody else, any other light worker, to move them out of center or create illness within their emotional body, that those acts are not manifesting negativity on this world. Those acts are manifesting the world in Cepheus. What lessons will need to be taught on that world, okay? As you project this energy, the thoughts and intentions, that is indicating what lessons will be needed to be taught or retaught on that world. And so but that being said, my negative thoughts as a result of those psychic attacks are manifesting on Cepheus, not here in this life or in my world, in my universe. It's manifesting in Cepheus. Okay, it's manifesting the lessons that need to be taught in Cepheus. Okay, so Mother Earth is not going to carry that karma. All right, but I acknowledge, that being said, that I do exist in Cepheus, because this is my path and purpose. This is what I do. I go to worlds where there is unbalanced energy, and I am light in that darkness. That's what I do. That's what I know. But there are other people who don't do this. The other energies that this is not their path and purpose. So they, when those psychic and energetic attacks come at them, other light workers that may not have that same path and purpose as I do, the response is irrelevant. How they respond to those energetic attacks is irrelevant, because all the energy connected to those energetic attacks is being projected back to Cepheus to create the lessons that will need to be taught on that world. Okay? So let me take a second to see if there's anything else. Nope, I just received the message to return to your heart. Open yourself up to source energy. Open yourself up to change. Open yourself up to the possibilities of living from the heart, living from compassion, kindness, understanding, tolerance. Return to your divine roots and truly be a paladin of love and light. That's the message that came to me at the end. And I keep on seeing angels and their wings, just very huge, beautiful, majestic wings on these. I don't want to say I can see an angelic body, but there is an energetic source force connected to those wings. And so the wings are representing a force of love from the divine source, power, because these wings are very powerful, but also change, transition, angelic love, kindness and compassion. So this change is about kindness and compassion from the source energy. Every act, every event, everything that may seem harsh or difficult or challenging is an act of compassion to help move people from this place to the next. And just, I keep on getting that message. Remember to return to your heart. Remember to find your source, that divine source energy within. Remember to live from that place and discover your inner divinity. Okay. Thank you.